I don't really understand it, but Jeff keeps insisting that he's not 50. He thinks he got there prematurely. So if he's 50, then he must have been born at 10. I know Gretchen says he never acts his age anyway, so maybe there's some truth to it. But all I know is however old he actually is, he's hoping to get a lot older. But
I'm working at it every day, Paul.
Jeff, when you start feeling like the morning after, on the night before, when you haven't done anything, you're getting old.
I think it's him.
I think he could live to be twice as long if he hadn't spent the first half of his life shortening the second half.
But look at what I've got to look forward to the second half.
There you go. But by the time you get to be 50, you start to appreciate the fun you have when you're 20. But as is tradition, Jeff, when you're celebrating, I'm drinking. So, I'm your man. Happy birthday.
Well,
I started thinking 80 years old. It's like I can't even believe it. It's like, I don't know, this will make you feel any better, Mom, but in my mind, you're eternally 40. Because that was the first time, like, age meant anything to me. You were 40, so you've just always been 40 in my mind. So, that was like last week or something. So, but, you know, when I think about it, it blows my mind. I've never known a world without my parents and most of my siblings. I've never had experience that. Thank you for cutting.
I know, right?
But I got to a little bit of a rough start in this world because my parents called me Charlie. And then sometime when I was in college, I think they had a son and named him Charlie. So this is from the same people who later told Charlie and I we weren't allowed to call Pat bro. So anyway, these days Mom usually calls me Pat, which at least has close to Paul. And in a world where no one seems to remember anyone's name, it's good preparation for me. But when people can't remember my name, I say, well, my mom can't remember my name, so there's no reason you should remember. But usually if Mom's trying to talk to me, she just starts with the oldest and just works down the list. Hey, Gretchen, Tom, I just jotted down some notes on the way down here, actually, thanks to my chauffeur, Academy, for driving me down here. But I started thinking 80 years old. It's like I can't even believe it. It's like, I don't know, this will make you feel any better, Mom, but in my mind, you're eternally 40. Because that was the first time, like, age meant anything to me. You were 40, so you've just always been 40 in my mind. So, that was like last week or something. So, but, you know, when I think about it, it blows my mind. I've never known a world without my parents and most of my siblings. I've never had experience that. Thank you for cutting.
I know, right?
But, I got to a little bit of a rough start in this world because my parents called me Charlie. And then sometime when I was in college, I think they had a son and named him Charlie. So, this is from the same people who later told Charlie and I we weren't allowed to call Pat bro. So, anyway. These days, Mom usually calls me Pat, which at least has close to Paul. And in a world where no one seems to remember anyone's name, it's good preparation for me. But when people can't remember my name, I say, well, my mom can't remember my name, so there's no reason you should remember. But usually if Mom's trying to talk to me, she just starts with the oldest and just works down the list. Hey, Gretchen, Tom, Carolyn, which one are you anyway? Don't lie to me, because I'll find out who you are. But now I think about it, she never knew whether her name was Barbara, Margaret Ann, Mags, Margaret, Bud, Monkey. You know, she never knew what her name was, so, you know, I can understand that. I give her a little slack for that. Let's hear a message from John Deere. Clearly, mom's had a profound influence on my life. For one thing, she spoiled me forever by preparing a hot breakfast for me every single morning. So, and sometimes she even helped me deliver the paper. But one of the big things I remember about mom is sitting on her lap and her reading to me, which I think sparked a lot of my interest in reading and writing, and ultimately led me probably to the profession that I've chosen. So, and you know, when you're a kid, you have no idea what you're going to do when you grow up. And I can remember mom sitting there with me, like assessing my skills, and it helped me figure out that I was worthless. But anyway, of course, most of my formal education came via Reader's Digest, so you know, you can understand. But I inherited my love of being on the water, I think from mom, on and in, around the water. Any time at the cottage is always a special experience. The memories there over the years are priceless. But there's a lot of other memories that come to mind too as I reflect on our history. I remember when I was young and learning to speak, I couldn't pronounce my R's correctly. My mom taught me how to pronounce my R's correctly. And I got my true blue eyes from mom, of course. Mom saved us from the buzzed haircuts back in the days when the Beatles were becoming popular. Dad would just shave all our hair. Mom did her best to cut our hair in a fashion we could bear to go to school and see our friends. Of course, one of the famous stories was where Chuck and I would yell things to see what we could get mom to respond to. We'd start by yelling mom, who would of course be on another floor. She'd yell, what? And then we'd change it to her yelling, monkey! She'd be going, what? She'll answer to monkey. That's good enough. One other special memory I have of mom was I was looking out the front door or the front window, and mom was standing at the top of the steps in the front sidewalk in the pouring rain, just standing there. And I yelled out, Mom, what are you doing? I'm standing in the rain. Couldn't figure that one out. One other special memory I have of mom was I was looking out the front door or the front window, and mom was standing at the top of the steps in the front sidewalk in the pouring rain, just standing there. And I yelled out, Mom, what are you doing? Standing in the rain. Couldn't figure that one out. But when you stand in the back, you look really stupid. You don't know what an umbrella is. It feels so good. See, my boys still always imitate your I'm in heaven when you're at the cottage, swimming in the river. I'm in heaven. Let's see. Oh, then we had the in-house football pools where we'd pick who's going to win, put like a quarter on it. Mom would always make her picks based on the colors of the uniforms. Yeah, Mom, good one. Of course, you would win every week. There's so many other stories I probably don't need to get into detail, but like, you know, there's a couple that stand out, like the time Tom and Pete Antonets were camping out in the backyard, and they came in, asked Mom for some food, and she famously suggested they could find some crackers and water. I mean, that'll go down forever. Yeah. Of course, there were the blind adventures out Maple Avenue, tourist destinations like Sticker Park, that Ken referenced. Little do we know this was a forecast of things to come, of Mom just randomly following semi-trucks to Michigan and into the way station, but it's all coming together for me now. Through Mom, we've gotten to know people like Mickey Arnold, Mary Drake, Sheila Mattingly, this character over here, of course Uncle Ursula, and now I think I know why I seem to attract freaky friends. But, you know, Mom always taught us to whistle while you work when you're doing your chores, and time goes by just like that. And,
Really with every bit.
yeah. Of course, no talk of Mom would be complete without reviewing some of the famous Momisms. The earliest and probably best known quote was from Mom on our famous vacation trip to Kansas, load up all 150 of us in a small shoebox, drive across the country. And so we got about an hour in, and Dad's like, I need a break, we're getting a hotel. So he stops, goes in, finds out the price and everything, comes out and asks Mom about it. Mom famously takes a puff for a cigarette. Take it. Next, she quit smoking after that. But some of my favorites when Mom would get totally stressed, she'd come, I only have 2 hands, or I'm doing the best I can. Mom, I have no respect for those phrases. Of course, there was a time Mom's car broke down and a helpful motorist stopped to see if he could do anything. And Mom's telling, yes, please, I don't have triple L or anything. Or triple L was a bar. Not to be confused with AAA, who helps you when your car breaks. Other noteworthy momisms include hair blows, previously known as a blow dryer, cable jumps, known to other people as jumper cables, Parmesan cheese, still not sure what that is, Parmesan, I guess, bonjour bread, bread of the day, and whatever combination of deja vu you want to put together. Bouja vu, bouja day, I've lost track. That high school French class really paid off for you. But apparently no other mother in the world gets these words right either, so it must be something in the wedding cake. But, I'd say one of the reasons we're really nice to Mom, though, is because as she's told us repeatedly throughout her lifetime, she's extremely wealthy due to all the money she earned at the pools on election day.
Oh, right. Because I saved every check.
Right. But seriously, Mom rocks. You know, one of the coolest things I think about moms, we've alluded it to today, is like she's forever young. And like I remember asking her recently, or we were talking about it, she said, I keep forgetting I'm like 80. I keep thinking I'm like 25. And I think that's awesome. And now that she has 2 new knees, she might be like 25. You might need a Viagra prescription. But I just love that Mom would like come to our parties. She would come to the bar with us and just hang out, you know, with your friends. Like, how many moms can do that with you? And one of the things I was proudest of Mom when you ran that marathon, remember? In my mind, you were like 54. I don't know if I dreamt that up.
Yeah, that's about right.
And it was like a 5 mile, 7 mile run.
6.8.
And she finished it. I don't think I could have. I always admired that. But and Mom and Dad always taught us the value of community service. I can remember going with Mom to deliver Meals on Wheels when I was a little kid. I had no idea we were feeding people that otherwise had no way to eat anything. And you know, when family members, loved ones were hit with cancer, Mom and Dad were very involved in hospice, you know, to help people as they could. When mental illness presented itself, he was right there leading the charge. You know, they take the problems head on, and I admire that. This is a little bit of a random related thought, but I remember when I was in elementary school, Mom would come down and volunteer to help out the school. And to me, that was always just the neatest thing in the world, to see her mom at school. And then later years, she would bring Pat. You know, and Pat would come hang out with me, sit in my classroom, hey bud, hang out in my classroom and go to lunch with me, and that was so cool. But I've never known, seriously, a more compassionate, nurturing, unselfish person. And I know I told Mom and Dad this because I called them to tell them, and probably a lot of you have heard it, but, you know, I have essentially 3 sons of my own now in their young 20s. And I can remember when it became apparent our house was going to be the hangout. And we had all these kids at our house all the time. And I told my oldest son, Andy, I said, you know, it's cool that they're here, but I'm concerned about their relationship with their parents because they're spending so much time here. And he said, Dad, these kids don't want relationships with their parents, and their parents don't really want relationships with them. You know, the parents they're wealthy, they throw money at them, go entertain yourself, leave me alone, I'm going out and entertain myself. And that was when I realized how lucky I was. I called Mom and Dad and thanked them for always being there and being interested. It's something I took for granted for a lot of years, and a lot of people don't have. So, again, thank you for that. You've been a lifelong role model and an inspiration for me. You taught me to try to be a good person, treat others as you want to be treated. Most of all, be polite in front of ladies.
That's a tough one.
But, you know, Mom and Dad, and Mom, this is your day, but you've always been there for us to provide a sympathetic ear, an unbiased perspective, ideas and suggestions drawn from your own experience, and unconditional love. And for everything I am and have done, I owe to my angel mother. You know, as a child, I really didn't think that much about being one of 9 people in one house with one bathroom. You know, now that I've removed them from that, everybody's like, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" It wasn't really a choice. You know. I didn't really have an outhouse or anything either. So you take your turn. You know, somebody at the sink, someone at the toilet, someone in the shower. You rotate every 5 minutes. But anyway, we learned to roll with the changes, and but you know, it was really pretty easy in retrospect. Of course, we had no idea the challenges that being parents includes, and you know, we're really pretty hard on our parents. I think, you know, heaven forbid they would plan a rare night out and leave us at home with a babysitter. It's like we did not take it well. I think they went out like 3 times in the 60 years. We'd make it hell for the babysitter or Gretchen or whoever was unfortunate one to be left behind.
But we keep calling them.
But,
Actually,
yeah.
sometimes.
But they were a pretty good parenting team, I think, Mom and Dad. It was sort of the good cop, bad cop thing. That's probably pretty common in a lot of families. You know, and Dad was at work all day and Mom was home. So it's like, you know, you could push it to a degree, but you didn't want it to be so bad that as soon as Dad got home from work at 3 o'clock, you didn't want the first thing out of Mom's mouth to be, "Let me tell you what Paul did." So that was always the goal. You know, no matter how bad you messed up during the day, you had till 3 o'clock to make it right with Mom. And hope that you're mentioning just a passing side note. You know, because otherwise, if you hadn't made it straight with Mom when he got home, you're in trouble. And you didn't even have till 3 o'clock if you were unaware enough as a child to not realize it's the weekend and he's home. Then you have like no makeup time at all. I found out that the hard way one day. I was at the Antonesses down the next block, and it was raining out, I remember. So I was supposed to go home and do chores or something. I didn't want to do them. So I called Mom and said, "Yeah, I'm not going to come home and do my chores. It's raining. I don't want to walk home in the rain." She's like, "Paul, I told you before you left, when those chores done, that you just get down here and do them." So I just hung up the phone. I didn't even think the phone was on the hook yet, and it was ringing back. I was like, "Who's this, Mom, Bell or something?" You know? My dad goes, "You have 2 minutes to be home." Like, "Dad, it's pouring rain outside." "Good, it won't take you 2 minutes." Oh, right. So anyway, I'm sure I always got what I had coming to me, or he let me off easy, but yeah. Well, I remember as a youngster, we would usually about playing ball in the yard or something, and so Mom would go pick up Dad, because we usually had one car, if that, chariot or something. And so Mom would go pick up Dad, come back, and they would just sit in the car for like an hour. You know, me and Chuck and Tom or whoever would be out in the yard, just like, what are they doing? Just sitting in the car. Like, you think they're okay? Should we go check on them? And they finally get out. "What are you guys doing in there?" They always claim they were just talking, but I don't know. There's a lot of steamed up windows out there. I'm not really sure what happened. But, you know, I've never went through that phase where, like, you're embarrassed to be with your parents. You know, we typically all hit that phase at some point where your kids are like, "You know, just drop me off a block away. I'll walk from there." "Oh, nice. Okay, so embarrassed to be seen, which is great." But I never went through that with my parents. I thought they were really cool, and all my friends should know them too. And so our house was always kind of a hangout. You know, before we go out to corrals all night, everybody'd hang out at my parents' house. We sit around, talk to them, joke around, and then they go to bed and we go out. And sometimes they'd buy some of the beer. And you know, that's kind of the house that I have now, for better or worse. I mean, my sons are 25 and 23, and our house has always been the hangout. And I always thought it was really cool, but one day when the kids were still in high school, I said to my son, you know, I love that your friends hang out here, I get to know them all, you know, and I have some idea of what you're doing and what's going on, you know, I think it's great. I said, but don't your friends want to spend some time with their parents? Because they're either at school, work, playing sports, or they're here, seeing us all the time. And he said, well, Dad, the sad truth is, they really don't want to have relationships with their parents, and their parents really don't care about having relationships with them. So they're glad their kids have some place to go and hang out, be with the family, and that just killed me. I called my parents that night and said, oh, thank you for being such awesome parents. I really took it for granted all these years. So, and once you have your own kids, you realize kind of what it takes to do that. Thank you for being with us.
Nobody would say much. I would say, okay, I'm going to bed. All hell would break loose. I mean, they really had a good time after I went to bed.
You didn't lock the liquor cabinet. So someone made a mistake of asking that the Quinns do something. And so this is something. Thank you. Good night. Felt like the end. Okay. Well, we had the Quinns spent a lot of time on the front porch there on Forest Avenue amidst the flowers that Mom grooms for us. And so in one of these creative sessions on the front porch, after a couple of those, we came up with this little poem of sorts for Gretchen, and we called it 60 Years and Going Strong. Perhaps it was a sign that you came first in line. As the oldest of the bunch, you always had to supervise our lunch. But Gretchen has a loving touch. She asks for little and gives very much. But her cell phone is nearly older than Dad. If she get a new one, we'd all be glad. Her favorite rock music now plays on the elevator. But at least she's still younger than Mick Jagger. There are benefits to turning 60, but you'll be stalked by AARP. But you can tell Gretchen's age by her favorite show. That would be the Weather Channel, you know. But she's always up on the latest rage, and no one would ever accurately guess her age. But we'll hope you will enjoy 60 more. But for sure, we will need you, and we'll still feed you when you're 64. Happy birthday. I would now like to have come to the microphone, the one and only, one that created all this havoc.
I'm good.
Whatever you want.
Tom Quinn Sr., a.k.a. Walter Hughes. I need makeup.
You're good.
We agree.
I thought you already did that.
Well, I want to say happy birthday, Mom, but then I'm like, well, is it Mom? I mean, she's always Mom to me, but she's also Mags, Margaret Ann, Barbara, or Bud. It's like,
really, she's all these. A great mother and a great friend when you need one too. But I thought, well, why should I worry about her name? She doesn't know mine. She's like, hey, Gretchen, Tom, Carol, and Charlie. Who are you anyway? Don't lie, because I'll find out who you are. There's ways of finding out. You know what? Never mind. We can kill you, make another one look just like you. We won't even miss you. We'll give you a whole new name. But what a legacy, bud. 7 kids, is it 9 grandchildren? I was trying to count.
Yeah.
Math
I think
is never
so.
my strong suit. 9 grandchildren. How many step grandchildren?
Oh. Oh, right.
Anyway, one of my earliest memories with Mom is riding in the car with Mom and Barb, my grandmother. They were both smokers at the time. I wasn't school age yet, so I don't know how old I would have been, 5 years old or something. And we get in the car out where we're going some blind adventure out Maple Avenue, I'm sure. And we get in, Mom and Barb both light up their cigarettes. And man, it was choking me to death. So I cracked the window. Like, put that window up. We want no oxygen in here. We'll have no breathing. That's when I first started weaning myself off of oxygen. Some of you know, I realized I've had this lifelong addiction to oxygen. And so I realized it was a problem, so I've been trying to kick it. So I've been weaning myself off. It started when I was 5. Kind of seeing it through now. I'm taking every other breath. I'm going to take every 3rd breath. You get the idea. Anyway, but big thing I remember growing up here with Mom is I had a hot breakfast every morning. Eggs or toast, cocoa, something. Always a hot breakfast. And when I was a kid, I kind of took it for granted. But after you get to be a parent, you're like, damn,
Exactly.
that's impressive.
Right, you're right.
150 kids.
You're right. I
I'm making a hot
forgot.
breakfast.
Yeah, and do you want French toast? Do you want
Right.
what do you want? This
Right,
is on a
that's
school
pretty
morning
special.
too.
That's pretty special. But some of you might remember when I was real young and I didn't know how to pronounce my R's correctly. They would come out like a W or something. Yeah, so Mom taught me how to speak accurately, which is kind of ironic when you look back now at all her misspeaks. Like the hair blows and the cable jumps and the vujade, vuja-vu. Kind of ironic she taught me how to speak accurately.
Yeah.
But anyway, also never understood the cliche she used. If you don't know, I'm very literal. Very literal. So you can imagine me at like 5 years old, and Mom telling me, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's like, I don't know what spite my face means, but I'm not cutting off my nose. You're crazy. Or your eyes are bigger than your stomach. I'm like, I ran to a mirror. I'm like, that doesn't look bigger to me. I didn't know. It freaked me out for a long time. As a kid, you don't understand those expressions. But she did have some really valuable expressions that we still recite today, like in front of ladies.
Right.
I use that one even for Andy and Joey. And of course, everything I am, I owe to my angel mother.
Yes.
She drilled that into me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank my mother for my true blue eyes.
Right.
Mom always rehearsed that with me. I remember I was going to go off to college, and I said, Mom, you know what? I'm worried when I move away, I'm not going to remember when your birthday is. So she went on about a 6-month training program. Oh, how many eyes do you have? 2. I forget what the Q was for 6, but how many siblings do you have or something? 6?
Maybe.
26, okay, August 26. I finally got it, Mom.
Yeah.
Finally got it.
Barb. Take that for his mother.
Yeah, I had another thing I've always remembered from when we were kids is Mom would want us to clean. And of course, we were always all about that. She'd just say, I'm just going to put on the side of a Beatles album. Just clean as
that's
long as the
right.
Beatles album plays.
That's right. I forgot.
Whistle while you work.
Whistle while you work.
Right. She tried everything.
And she'd have a job list. You remember when we pick a jobs?
Yeah.
I think I always got.
You
I
were
think I was
always last. You were always
And it was
last.
always like the bathroom floor or something.
Yeah, it's-
kitchen floor.
It was between you and me.
Right,
Yeah,
it was between
probably 'cause
you.
we were asleep.
Right, that was how you were supposed to get up. The earlier you got up,
We
the
got
more
out and
choice
delivered
of
the
jobs.
paper out and then went back to sleep.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
And then we had the thing where we took turns picking the meal for dinner.
oh yes.
Yeah.
Hamburgers.
He always picked those wheel spaghettis. I'm like, what's that wheel spaghetti stuff you're always picking?
I had Welsh rarebit.
That too. But you go, why won't I have those wheels
Tom
for a
had
while?
chip beef and hash.
This.
Chuck had a hot fudge cakes.
Oh, good choice, Chuck.
But you know, one thing with Mom was always an adventure. Going out to Sticker Park or other adventures have been well documented. One of my favorite was her getting lost going to Detroit and randomly deciding to follow this semi because it's got to be going to Detroit. I'll just follow that semi right into the way station. Fortunately, she wasn't overweight and they allowed her to continue. It doesn't help that she never knew a right from wrong, or a right from left, or a right from wrong. Like the blonde leading the blind. But I remember the story of the time her car broke down and some guy stopped to help and she's like, yeah, can you help me? I don't have triple L or anything. Triple L was a bar. You don't have triple L? Yeah, we're in trouble now. I got triple A, but they won't bring us beer.
Oh, do you remember? She'd always say, right or left. She'd go, wait a minute. Oh,
Right.
my wedding ring's on my left hand.
My left hand.
That's
exactly.
the only way she knew, was the wedding ring was on the left
At
hand.
least she figured out a plan.
Yeah.
I still do.
Credit for that.
Really? Oh my gosh.
It's hereditary.
Whoa. All right.
I'm dyslexic.
And for those who are following the
Lex
program.
Basic.
Okay.
But I do want to say Mom and Dad were always great about, I think, nurturing each of us to be whatever we wanted to be. Whether it was the school play or sports, music performance, whatever, they were always there. Always make sure we get to practice and the shows and be right there every time. And I learned that that's pretty rare, actually. So, and our prime party days, Chuck will remember, we'd hang out here with like Hall Boy and whatever other troublemakers we could drum up and party with Mom and Dad till like 10 o'clock. Then they'd go to bed and we'd go out. But that was the weekend ritual. We'd sit around BS with Mom and Dad. And,
Yeah.
Then we come back and have pizza or subs or something.
Mom would have the next day's dinner pre-made in the refrigerator. We come home 3 in the morning and eat it all. But we leave a thank you note. That was Chuck's fault.
You were so innocent.
I know. Well, I'm usually drunk and I went on the bed. But yeah, Mom, your Mom, your Mag, your Margaret Ann, your Barbara, your Bud, you're everything, and a great friend. And thank you.